Now, the rest of the story.
All right, if you guys remember, most of you may remember, a little while back when I was trying to finish up seeding down some waterways, I ended up breaking the grain drill. Well, that was about 3 weeks ago, and I have just now gotten done fixing it, and it's probably not as pretty or beautiful as it could be, but to be honest with you, for what it is right now and for how much we use this grain drill, I think it'll work better this way. I really do. I went through, and maybe I should have shown you all this before I put it back together. There's an iron here that used to at one point flex pivot on this bolt right here. Ooh, it's still hot though. And what it did is when you would go and raise up the drill, it would flex on here, or pivot here. It would pull this bar back, and then you get a lot of slop on here. There's really nothing bracing it to this bracket right here that everything is attached to. This thing was kind of rough when we brought it home. It wasn't in field ready condition, let's just say that. The part that I'm pretty sure I just cut off, and I've never seen it before because it wasn't entirely there when we brought it home, and the one that we used to have, that we had growing up, I mean, this is the same grain drill, similar grain drill that we had when I was growing up. The one we had growing up was actually tripped by a rope in the tractor, but there's actually a mechanism here at one point, at least on this one, where you're actually able to bolt this solid and lock up the machine. Never worked for us. It was chained up solid when we brought it home, and when we first brought it home, we did go through and recondition all this, welded up this bracket because that was broken out or starting to break, and just from a little bit of use we've had on it since we brought it home and rebuilding it, it just came apart. I went through, I tend to get in kind of a mood at times when it's just, things aren't worth fighting when it comes to fixing things. And honestly, I just don't feel that all that slop we had on it was necessary as far as it moving as much as it was. So my no nonsense, tired of messing with it attitude kicked in, and I went ahead and I ended up getting the bracket back down in where it needed to be, put the bolt back in to give it some support to hold everything together, and I went through and I welded everything solid, and I got it hot, very, very hot actually, and I filled everything in. The weld's kind of dirty right there, but I already tried it. I cycled it a few times. It works great, as good enough as we really need it to work. If we were going to go through and seed down hundreds of acres every year with this, I actually am more confident in using it the way I have it now, that I've welded it back up solid, compared to how we had it, because we only seeded down, I think, 27 acres by the time we got done with Ryan's, and then the waterways that I was working on at the time. It was only maybe less than, well, we're going to go ahead and say about 50 acres on that fix when we fixed it last, and it didn't last very long. This, I'm a lot more confident in that. I stiffened it up a lot better than what it was, and for what I need to do with it, for what we need to use it for, it'll work better. I honestly believe that. So if you guys can't tell, I'm hot. 80 degrees out plus welding in really hot conditions. I have a couple waterways I actually want to go and try to seed in right now. It hasn't rained in a little while. There's a bunch of alfalfa seed in here yet, which you guys can hardly see it. I have a bunch of grass seed that I actually cleaned out of this. I'm going to go ahead and mix some grass seed in with it. I got plenty of oats. I'm gonna go seed down some waterways before the next rain. Hopefully it isn't a really torrential downpour, but just a nice steady rain. Those are the rains we're dying for, not those really nasty ones. So, all right, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Take care, take it easy, keep in touch. I'll talk to you guys later. All right, I guess it wasn't quite done for the day. I'm gonna head out and work down some of our field roads, and I got a waterway or two that I'm gonna hit. The reason I'm gonna do that is because it needs it. But what you're gonna see different here, and you guys are gonna probably, some of you are gonna probably wonder what I'm doing. I'm not gonna unfold the VT. I'm really just looking to make a swath about as wide as the VT, fill in any of the little ditches, smooth it out, kind of break the soil up, and go ahead and I'm going to seed it down. Not going to have time to harrow it, just from, we have a rain shower coming right now. My goal is to at least just run down and back on it, and then run back and pull the grain, get the grain drill pulled down across it. Some of it is, it's been killed off from overspray, from getting the crop sprayed. It's not anybody's fault. I want to clarify that, just so everybody pretty well understands that just because the grass has been killed off in our driveways, it's not the sprayer applicator's fault. We have told them specifically, I would much rather you have killed off some of the grass on our field roads than to risk leaving some of our crops on the end rows not sprayed. We've had that. It's terrible. We never want to do it again. And they're doing exactly what they've been told to do, which is really great, especially when you're getting this spraying done custom. I want to answer that really quick. Will we, are we, do we think we would get our own sprayer? Maybe someday in some way, shape, or form. We're not in any big rush to do it, because when it comes to having our crops sprayed and everything else like that, it's nice for us not having to worry about another machine to keep up with. We can just focus on getting our crops in, and then they have the manpower and the ability to come through and get it sprayed in no time. They got the experience. Not that we couldn't get the experience after, you do it for yourself long enough. But myself, between all three of us, none of us are really too overly crazy about having to worry about keeping track of your chemicals, getting your certifications, whatever else you need. It's just another whole can of worms that in the right conditions we would do it, but as of right now, no. So, and this is what really burned us right here. I had this all seeded down. It looked really nice, but wettest spring in Wisconsin burned us. So we got ditches where we've never had ditches before. The field road, yes, this does wash, has washed in the past. It's far from the end of the world. But there are parts of our field that none of us are exactly like crazy about for how much they have washed. And it's not necessarily our fault as the farmer. It isn't our fault as the farmer. Between conventional till or even no-till, it doesn't matter. Mother Nature did not discriminate. There's plenty of no-till fields that have just as bad of ruts down through their ground as our ground does. If you guys can see it hanging back there, Dad and I did go through and get the rolling basket back on the VT. Worked out really nice. Only took us, gosh, how long did it take us? A couple hours, and that was just from having to run around and get hardware. But overall, that was actually a pretty painless experience. Accidents happen. It's not the end of the world. There are people, my grandpa was one of them at times, we all, where if something blew up, you kind of cringed a little bit because yes, it broke, you gotta fix it, it costs money, yada yada yada, downtime. In the end, there's nothing you can do about it. Maybe that's why I think like that, because of growing up with my grandpa. But as far as getting super excited because something broke or gave anymore, it's just more or less just focus on fixing it. That's a lot of really all we focus on around here. We really don't get too excited about stuff breaking. So everything is in the ground, everything is put in a timely manner. The emergence in some of these beams over here, in my opinion, could be nicer than what they are. Still not 100% terrible, not necessarily a train wreck, but between some sunlight and everything else, soybeans can take quite a bit of abuse as long as they're there. Not really concerned about it yet. Still haven't put the planter away, but I do just want to get if you guys can tell, I'm just trying to get the blades just in the ground. I'm not really trying to work it too much, just trying to break open that top, so that way when I drag the drill across it, the drill will do a fine job in itself. Working the dirt around, because I do not have the time to pull the harrow across this. Alright, I think that's enough of that, because I gotta find a place to spin around. I'm going to spin around and head back in, because we're chasing the sun right now. So, once again, thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later.